Hello and welcome to a new vlog. Welcome to Saturday. It's Saturday. It has been a long week. It has been a very long week and I am very tired, but I'm a good tired. I've had enough sleep last night, so that's good. I've been sticking with a fairly consistent evening routine all week, including last night, even though I could sleep in today if I'd wanted to, but I'm trying to get better at going to sleep by a certain time, waking up by a certain time. It's not even been a full week yet. We will see how long this lasts. It probably will not last long, but I tried doing this last semester and I just want to get back into that habit and remind myself that even if I have a day where I fall out of that habit, where it just doesn't work, I just come back to it the next night. I don't have to just throw it completely out the window. So I have managed to get just enough sleep, if not just a little more than enough sleep, every night this week except for one night. And I do think it's making a slight difference by the weekend, like how I'm feeling. So it's only 10:21, which I feel like when I start a weekend vlog, it's usually like noon by the time I start. And I've been up for an hour and a half-ish now. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm sleepy, but I'm feeling pretty good. And I've had now extra time in my morning, which is great. But we're gonna stick with a pretty cozy, relaxed vlog today. As you can see, yes, the tree is still up. I had wanted to get it taken down by yesterday, and I mentioned that in the previous vlog. It didn't happen. I had meant to be doing a little bit each night, Monday through Thursday, in terms of taking ornaments off the tree, and then taking the tree completely down by yesterday, and there's not that much left to do. The ornaments that are on won't take me that long, but by the time I got home, I had a meeting on campus yesterday, and by the time I finished with that because that ran long, and so then not only was I an hour late leaving campus, but then because of the time I was leaving, traffic was worse, and so it took me half an hour longer than I'd anticipated to get home. It took me an hour instead of only 30 minutes because traffic was it was rush hour traffic by that point. Whereas if I'd left at 3, it wouldn't have been rush hour traffic yet. So I had thought I would go to my meeting, come home, and just get the rest of the Christmas decorations put away so that there wouldn't still be a tree up in this vlog. And I really wanted to vlog today and not tomorrow. So yeah, I don't care that my tree is still up. It's fine. If you care that my tree is still up, I don't really care. You can keep your opinions out of the comments as far as I'm concerned. But I will probably take it down tomorrow and then relax some more on Monday. I also thought I would do some writing and stuff today and in this vlog, but now I think I need a couple days to get my brain on straight. This vlog is going to be just a super cozy Saturday reading weekend vlog. I'm in my snuggliest sweater. This is my new Christmas gift. I've already worn this in 2 vlogs. I feel like this year, but I don't care. I intentionally didn't wear it all week just so that there would be one vlog where this sweater didn't make an appearance, but it's still pretty chilly outside and it's still pretty chilly in here, especially this morning. So I've got a long sleeve t-shirt and a super thick snuggly sweater. I'm gonna make some coffee and I don't think I'm hungry yet, but make some coffee, get cozy on the couch, do some reading. I am on to my 4th book of the year, so that's exciting. And then later in this vlog, we will recap my 2023 reads, all the final tallies of everything, what I read, some top favorites perhaps, things like that. And then we will also go over my 2024 reading goals. And then later this afternoon, we'll go for a lovely hike. But first, I need coffee, and then I need to go get cozy on the couch and just relax. So that's what I'm going to do. But get comfy, make yourself a cup of coffee or tea, whatever sounds cozy and comfortable, and yeah, just spend a Saturday reading and relaxing with me. Okay, it's a little bit later. I need to get up and actually make some food now. I've had my coffee, I've been reading, it's been lovely, but I am starting to get a little bit hungry. But before I do that, I thought we could go over my 2023 reading stats. What I read, how many books I read, all of that sort of thing. So let me just pull up Goodreads and my 2023 year in books. Okay, 2023, my year in books. I read 119 books. My goal was 100. So I read more. I thought I might get to 120, but by New Year's week, I knew that I wasn't going to get to 120, and I thought I would only read 118, which was still a lot and more than I had expected. But then I found one more book, one more Christmas book that I'm like, oh, I really want to read this. It was only 99 cents. And I thought, I can read this in one day. And so I started it the evening of the 30th, and then that's just what I read all day of New Year's Eve. And it also says I read 37,199 pages, and that's something I want to keep in mind for this coming year. And I'll talk about this more later in this vlog. And then, yeah, the one thing I needed to do, and I forgot to do it before I turned the camera on, was count up how many library books I read. So let's see if I can do this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 52 books out of my 119 were library books, which I think is pretty impressive. And if we assign an average book cost of $5, I saved at least $260, probably closer to $3 or even $3.50 by using the library this past year. So proof that using the library will save you a lot of money. So yeah, it's hard to go over favorites. There were so many good books that I read this past year. As I'm scrolling through the list and remembering some of these, there were so many good books. Just a lot. There were some great thrillers. I loved everything I read by Alice Feeney. I loved everything I read by Lucy Foley. I read a lot of Avon Ellis romance novels. I love everything I read by Avon. Some newer authors that I really got into. This book, Kills by Ravina Garan, really liked that book and would definitely read something else by her. Shanora Williams, The Wife Before, really enjoyed that. Would read more from her as well. Kathy Yardley, I loved her book Role Playing. I definitely want to look up some more books by her. Lily Chu, I loved The Stand-In. The Stand-In was so cute. There were some other books earlier. Yeah, Tokyo Ever After and Tokyo Dreaming by Emiko Jean. I read those in the first half of the year and I am still thinking about them. Same with Vanessa Yu's Magical Tea Shop. There were so many good books this year. And yeah, amazing romances, amazing thrillers, just really good stories. Adult fiction, young adult fiction, but yeah, really good stories overall. And just, I don't feel like there was a bad one in the bunch. I loved some slightly more than others, but I still loved all of them. So that's kind of the recap. 119 books. Aimed for 100, got to 119, so I'm really happy with that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to another year of reading. But I've got a flashing battery light and a hungry tummy. So I'm gonna go get breakfast, get back to reading, and then we will talk about my 2024 reading goals. Okay, it is time to talk quickly, very quickly, if I can manage it, about my 2024 book/reading goals. How many books I want to read, what kinds of books I want to read. So I've got a list of 6 things, and then there's a couple things that aren't on my list. And then I have 2 new books that I've purchased that I want to show you. So running through this as quickly as possible because I feel like I could talk for hours about this and we don't have time for that. But I am aiming to read about 80 books and possibly around 25,000 pages. It could be a little bit more than that. I think 25 to 30,000 is probably more accurate if we're going for 80 books. But honestly, this is the least, the number of books and number of pages are the least important goal this year. I feel like I need tea. My throat is just not happy. Sun just felt really dry. So yeah, I'm setting a book goal just because goals are great. It's nice to have something to kind of aim towards. But if I don't hit 80, which I think I will, considering I hit 119 last year, I think I will hit 80. But I'd be happy with 60 or 70. Definitely will hit 50 because like 50 books, that would be like a book a week. I know I will read more than a book a week. I was thinking of setting the goal at 60 books, but I think that was like only 5 books a month, and I felt pretty confident that I would read more than 5 books a month. I think it might be around like 5 to 7 books per month. There might be like 1 book that I read in a month that takes me a full week to read, but then the other weeks I'll probably get through like 2 books in that week. So 80 is just kind of where I've set the number, but that's flexible and that's not what I'm aiming towards. The kinds of books are what I am trying to focus on this year. So those goals. I want to read more books by diverse authors and books about diverse characters. So books by authors of color, fat authors, LGBTQ plus authors, neurodiverse authors. But yeah, some of my other favorite books this past year were books written by authors of different backgrounds and experiences and religious backgrounds, social backgrounds, racial and ethnic backgrounds, different nationalities, learning more about different countries and different cultures. And so I just want to read more of that this year because those were honestly some of my favorite books in 2023. I'm looking at my iPad with my notes, by the way. I also want to read more nonfiction history books, especially books written by and about underrepresented communities, kind of the untold stories and perspectives that tend to get written out of history, out of the mainstream history that makes it into the textbooks. Over the years, I have definitely realized how different real history is compared to some of the history I learned, how much deeper and bigger certain stories and moments in histories are. As I've learned more about different communities, about different groups of people. Learning more women's history throughout grad school was like a huge eye-opener to see just how different what I learned in school was from what the actual history was. And so I'm just wanting to I'm learning with everything that's happening in the world today. So much of it is because we don't know history, or because we've bought into a very narrow version of history. And so as part of my continued goal to be a more informed citizen, it's not just researching what is currently happening, it's also researching the historical contexts that are kind of continuing or enabling what is currently happening, or the history that we are repeating because we aren't learning the history properly to begin with. So I just want to read a lot more history. I'm a huge history nerd, and I feel like because I'm so focused on these high book count numbers for the end of the year, because I'm trying to read 100 books or whatever, I'm choosing shorter, easier books. I'm choosing the lighthearted, fluffy romances that I don't really have to think about as I'm reading, that I know I can read in like 2 days. And so this year I want to be more comfortable and more willing to pick up a book that I know this is going to take me a week or more to read, and that's okay. I'd rather read less books this year, but read more books that are longer, deeper, more complex, and get me thinking more. And I tend to read a lot of fiction, and this year, and I think going forward, I want to make sure I'm adding back in a bit more nonfiction as well. So I also want to read, kind of along the nonfiction thread, I want to read more poetry. I don't know where, like, poetry is its own thing. It's not fiction, it's not nonfiction, it's poetry. So I want to read more poetry. I don't read a lot of poetry, but when I have found a book of poetry that sounded interesting and that I was intrigued by, I've really enjoyed it. So I want to find some more poets, but also read some books by poets who I've already found and who I know I enjoy. But yeah, I want to read more poetry. I think it's a nice, fun thing to read. Having a book of poetry by my bedside and just reading 3 or 4 poems at night before I go to bed and kind of thinking about those is kind of nice. So I want to find some more poetry. So if you have any poets that you like it's almost overwhelming, the options. So yeah, if you've got any good poets to recommend, that would be great. I would love those recommendations. I want to read more indie authors because I am a firm believer in indie authors, supporting indie authors. So as an indie author myself, I want to make sure that I'm supporting as many indie authors as I can. And I want to read more fantasy, particularly magical realism, urban fantasy, paranormal, supernatural fantasy. Those are kind of the subgenres within fantasy that I am most interested in. I'm not really interested in elves and dragons and that kind of fantasy, but witches, vampires, things like that. Definitely interested in those. And then I want to read more personal development, aka self-help. I love a good nonfiction book that just gets me thinking more about my life. So more books on slow living, more books on being mindful and intentional. So more books like that for sure. And then also kind of going along with diverse authors, more international authors. I want to read, like my first read of this year was Hannah's Daughter by Marianne Fredriksson. And she's a Swedish author writing about Swedish characters. It was translated into English. And that book broke my heart, but I loved it so much. It was so good. It was so good. I learned more about Swedish history, want to learn even more about it now that I've read this one novel. But yeah, I'm realizing I want to read more books by international authors, particularly female authors writing about female characters and lived experiences of these female characters in other countries. I'm just wanting to learn more about different countries, different cultures, what it's like living in other places, but still primarily reading the genres I enjoy reading. So still reading mysteries, thrillers, romance, stuff like that, just by international authors. I had read a book earlier this year, or last year rather now, about set in Iceland in the 1600s, and everything about it sounded really good and like something that I would really, really enjoy. And the one thing that just kind of just bummed me out a tiny bit, like it was still a really, really good book and I still really enjoyed it, but the author wasn't Icelandic. I think she was British, and she didn't seem to have any connection to Iceland in her ancestry or by marriage. Like it was just, she was just fascinated by this story idea and did a lot of research. It was clearly well researched, and she'd spoken to people, Icelandic scholars and academics, and like it was well done. But I still just kept feeling like now I kind of want to read a book by someone from Iceland. And so when I mentioned this in the vlog where I was talking about this book, Bryndís, who's a content creator on here, I'll put Bryndís's channel on the screen. Bryndís mentioned this book called Last Rituals, a novel of suspense. I am going to totally butcher this author's name. I don't even know that I want to attempt it. Icelandic, I'm learning, not only has silent letters, they have invisible letters. And so there's phonetic sounds that you wouldn't guess from the letters that are written. I think Norwegian is hard. I think Icelandic would be even harder to learn. But this book sounded really, really good. And USA Today says, a fascinating and deliciously creepy mystery. I love a good creepy mystery suspense thriller. So when I read the book description, it sounded really, really good. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I'll probably read this, if not this month, then sometime next month. January and February, I'm still really into wintry, atmospheric kind of books, mysteries, thrillers, fantasy, things like that. So yeah, this will definitely be a midwinter, late winter read for me this year. And then the other book I got is a nonfiction book, but I got this to hopefully to try to get me ready to like get back into editing Across the Pond 4, and this is by Sierra Block, and it's London Block by Block, an illustrated guide to the best of England's capital. And it's a short book. It's mostly illustrations and lists with short little like paragraph introductions to each neighborhood, but I just thought this might be really good and really fun for some extra research for the Across the Pond series. So those are my reading goals for this year. I will keep you posted and updated. You will see me reading things throughout the year in the vlogs, and I will try to give you some like monthly recaps. But yeah, I want to focus on reading perhaps a little less this year, but reading books that I haven't really given myself time and space to read because I've been trying to read so much in a year. So yeah, we'll see how many books I end up reading, but I think if I read fewer books than planned, but have this like full span of like all these different kinds of books, I will be really happy with that. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to reading. I want to finish my tea, do a little bit more reading, just relax for a little bit longer. I'm probably gonna go hiking a little bit later than originally planned because I'm enjoying relaxing and I'm feeling a little bit tired. So I don't think I'm gonna have the energy for as long of a hike as I initially thought I would. So that means I can get a slightly later start out on the trails. Okay, we are at the park and I'm ready to go hiking. I don't feel the greatest. I've been feeling okay while I've just been sitting and reading on the couch and doing stuff around the apartment, but I'm not feeling the greatest. So I am out here later than I intended because I just know I'm not going to be able to go for like an hour and a half long 4-mile hike. Not that I was planning on going for 4 miles, but I had wanted to do like 2.5 miles today. I'm gonna see how I feel. Might still be able to manage. I don't even know if I've got time for 2 hours. I'll see how fast or how slow I'm going. I'm at what's become my favorite parking lot. I'm at the smaller one, and I've been hiking out on this side of the park a lot more since Christmas. I feel like before Christmas, I was doing a mix of both, probably because I was trying to not repeat the same hikes over and over and over again during Vlogmas. But since Vlogmas has ended, I've just been gravitating towards this side of the park. It's much quieter. There's far fewer people. So like on a weekend like today, I feel like the other side of the park and the other parking lot is just going to be much busier. Like I can always find a place to park, but I can usually tell by how full that parking lot is, how busy the trails are going to be. And so even the quieter side trails over on that side of the park, they will still be busier on a busy day. Whereas even when the park in general has a lot of people, they're more on the other side than on this side. So yeah, I've just been gravitating towards this side of the park a bit more often since New Year's. So one of the trails here, it's a full mile long before it connects to, well, there's a junction at half a mile, and then there's another junction at 1 mile. So it's got like a full mile that you can walk. So I can go down that trail slightly more than half a mile and then turn around. I can do like 3/4 of that trail and then retrace my steps and get about 1.5 miles in total. So that might be what I do. We might not make it all the way to the end of that trail, but I can just kind of play it by ear and see how I feel. I'll probably bring one of my trekking poles, but keep it collapsed because I don't really think I need it today, especially if I'm just staying on that trail. But I do like to have one just in case I start to feel a little less steady on my feet. I'm just so tired, and sometimes when I'm tired, I get a little wobbly. So having a little bit of extra support is a good thing. It's about 59 degrees. So I don't think I'm going to keep my hoodie on because it's sunny. It's very sunny. And like an idiot, I was rushing, and in my rush to get out here, I left my sunglasses at home. So I don't have any sunglasses. Yeah, so this is not going to be the best hike I've ever been on. I'm not feeling that great. I don't know how far I'm going to be able to hike. I've left my sunglasses at home. It's a very sunny day. It's at least cool, but not very breezy. So I definitely am not going to need my hoodie. But yeah, we'll enjoy a hike. I don't know what's going on. I've been in a good, relaxed mood all day. And then in the 15-20 minutes of getting changed and getting here, my mood has just kind of dropped. So I really hope I can just, even with a short hike, I really hope I can shift into a better perspective, get back into a good mood. Nothing bad is happening. I think it's been a long, I feel like I could cry, and I have no idea why. I'm just suddenly feeling really emotional. I'm tired. That's gotta be it. I'm just tired. It's been a very long week, and it feels like each day this week hasn't felt that bad. Like Monday was pretty easy working at home. Tuesday was fine being on campus, and I was only on campus for teaching because I was doing office hours at home. Wednesday was a quiet day at home. Thursday was office hours and teaching on campus, but I got to see some friends and the classes went well, and like overall it was still a good day. And then yesterday was busy and hectic with having to go down for my meeting and then that running long, and I had run to Whole Foods in the morning, so like I was still up fairly early and out the door and then running back and forth back to Whole Foods and then home and then to campus and then being down there for a while and then home. So like it was an easy day, but it was a busy day. So like each day on its own really wasn't that bad and I felt okay. But I feel like cumulatively now by the end of the week, I think I'm actually more tired than I expected to be. So I'm just going to have to take all of that into consideration with my weeks and manage my Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays a little bit more just to make sure I'm not overdoing it. This is always the frustrating part of January, is the first few weeks of the semester, which is like the second, third, and fourth week of January is always a struggle to like adjust. I'm still adjusting. So, but yeah, I think what is it they say? Unhappiness is when reality doesn't meet your expectations. I think I'd put too many expectations on today, that I was just going to have a really chilled, relaxed day reading. I haven't gotten as far in the book. I'm reading more slowly today than I would like, but that's okay. I'd expected and hoped that I'd have a really long, nice hike, but now I'm not feeling that great. And so I'm trying not to let that turn into unhappiness because it's still a good day. It's still a good day. Expectations. I think this year, imperfect is one of my words, but I'm also learning to let go of expectations and just letting what happens. And if I get to the end of the day and I don't feel like going for a 3-mile hike, then a 1-mile hike is okay. So before we run out of any more time, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go for a nice, relaxing hike and enjoy this beautiful weather, because it's not going to be like this forever. Hopefully we have at least a few more weeks of this, but it is mid-January, so winter could end anytime in the next 2 to 6 or 7 weeks. Like, we have no idea. Summer arrives when it arrives, and it's very unpredictable. So it took winter forever to arrive, but summer could arrive in a blink. We never know if winter is going to be a week, a month, 3 months. We never know. So we're going to enjoy this weather while we can. was a better hike than I thought it was going to be. Got out there, started feeling really good. Ended up doing almost 2.5 miles. So yeah, that was not bad. It's very cold. It's come down to 55, and I left my hoodie in the car, so I'm only just now getting back to the warmth. But yeah, it's just such a reminder that I need to like really not stress about stuff and just let go of expectations and just see what happens. I started getting really upset with myself, thinking I wasn't feeling well, I wasn't going to be able to have a good hike, and it's going to be warming up soon, and these could be, you know, my hiking days are numbered, and like I was doing the whole negative spiral thing. I got out there and I actually was keeping up a pretty good pace. Did the first 0.7 miles in pretty good time, and so I thought, okay, I think I've got just enough time then to try to do this particular loop I wanted to do that would be almost 2.5 miles. And I thought I had just enough time, and I did. I got to the end of the main part of the trail just as the sun was going down below the horizon, and from that point to the parking lot is only 0.2 of a mile. So I knew I could get back. Like I have been back at the parking lot while there's still been plenty of light and plenty of people. There's like several cars. People are finishing up their hikes, but like there's plenty of people still around. There were people watching the sunset. So yeah, the sky is gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Not a whole lot of clouds, but just enough to really play with the light of the sunset. And everything off to the north is going really pink, which is really pretty. My cheeks are so cold. The lighting is low now, but if it was brighter, you'd probably see how pink my cheeks are. I've got rosy cheeks from the cold. I need to drink more water. This is all the water I've had on this hike, and this bottle wasn't even completely full, so it's probably more like only that much. I do not drink nearly enough water when it's cold. When it's warm, when it's like in the 70s, I would have gone through both of these water bottles by the end of my hike. But when it's cold, I just don't feel as thirsty, and I don't feel the need to drink water. But I still do need to drink water. That's the difficult part. Like, my body does still need the water. It just isn't sending me the signals. So I'm going to be drinking a lot of water on the drive home and then throughout the rest of the evening while I'm relaxing. But I think this vlog has gotten long enough. Although I know there are some of you, lovely people, for whom it is never too long. But I think I've been talking enough in this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. I hope you enjoyed chatting all things books and goals and reading goals and all of that stuff. I'm really excited for the books I'm going to read this year. I read so many great books last year. So I'm excited to see what I read in 2024. And of course, someone comes and pulls up right next to me as I'm trying to finish this vlog. Anyway, I'm never going to see them again, so I don't really care. And now the person on the other side of me is finishing up their hike, so I definitely need to go. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I would really appreciate both of those things. Let me know in the comments what some of your reading goals are. Do you have a number of books you want to read, or are you aiming for a different kind of goal? Are you doing any other kind of book challenges? What are you hoping to read? Do you have specific titles this year that you really want to read? I really wanted to read Hannah's Daughters this year, so I've got that one checked off the list. First thing. I think I also really want to read Elizabeth Gaskell's North and South this year, so I think that's another one I might try to read maybe March or April time, or if not, then definitely during the summer. So yeah, let me know if there's a specific book that you really want to get checked off your reading list this year. or any new books coming out this year that you're looking forward to. I'm definitely looking forward to Deborah Harkness's, I think it's The Black Oracle or something. I'm so excited for that. It's coming out in June or July, so I've got to wait, but it is something that I'm looking forward to in the summer, because I think I'm going to reread the other 4 books prior to that one. So that'll be fun to do in the summer. So yeah, let's just chat books, book goals, books we're looking forward to, all of that good stuff. And or you can leave me a book emoji in the comments, or the stack of book emojis in the comments, to let me know which of you lovely people have made it all the way to the end of this vlog. But there is now really not much left to this sunset, so I'm gonna go before you can't see me at all, and I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye.